役に立ち僕らこの星を出よう彼が目を覚ました時連れ戻せない場所へ性能で大地を蹴ってここではない星へ行こうもう少しで運命の向こうもう少しで運命の行こうもう少しで運命の向こうもう少しで夢に僕らでを張って来たるべき日のために夜を越えいざ期待だけ満タンであとはどうにかなるさと肩を組んだ怖くないわけないでも止まんないピンチの先回りしたって僕らじゃしょうがない僕らの恋が言う声が言う
Today's country is
Japan!
Hi, my name is Muhammad Danish. Today I plan to introduce a country as well as explore for our study on culture management. So the country that we choose is Japan. This selection is both strategized and aimful given Japan promoter role in international business and unit of culture dynamic. So let's begin. Japan stands as a global economic powerhouse boasting in the third largest economy in the world. It is home to many of the world-leading multinational corporations and key players in international trade and technology innovation. So, the country influence a global market cannot be overstated, making it a critical area of focusing for anyone involved in international business. This relevance of Japan extends beyond its economic strengths. Japan culture is a rich multifaceted, offering a decent contrast to the Western business practice. So, the Japanese business environment places very value and respect, hierarchy and a group harmony principle that deeply embedded in this communication and negotiation style. So, next is concepts such as wa, which is equal harmony, and niwashima refers to the informal process of qualities. Laying the foundation for a change or project are integrated to understand how business is conducted in Japan. So, understanding this culture nonsense is essential for effective communications and negotiation in Japan. So, this is the culture that Japan's do in doing business. So, for instance, the importance of indirect communication, non-verbal cues, and the avoidance of the confidence are provided in maintaining harmonious business relationship. Moreover, the emphasis on building long-term relationship which trust over quick they present both challenges and opportunity for foreign business looking to engage with Japan partners. So by delving into the interest of Japan's business culture, we gain valuable insights into the broader spectrum of culture management. The knowledge equals us to navigate the competitive of international negotiation more effectively, foster successful and respectful business relationship across border. So, Japan is a free economic growth is distant culture charity statement is as a choice for our explorer to culture management. Understand the Japan business etiquette and culture norms not only ensure the component to dealing with Japan partners but also ensure overall perspective on global business practice.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Nurul Afrina binti Juraimi. So I will start with negotiation tips and process in Japan. So I will start with the negotiation tips first. Firstly is building relationships are known as kizuna. In Japan, when people negotiate, they focus on making friends first. Before talking about business stuff, they spend time getting to know each other, learning about their backgrounds and showing they are honest and trustworthy. So, in meetings, they might start by chatting about things like hobbies or family instead of jumping straight into business talk. Second one is respect hierarchy. In Japan, it's really important to show respect for people who are older or have higher positions both in society and at work. During negotiations, make sure the most senior person in your groups take charge and listen to them when talking to Japanese people. Third, cultural sensitivity in communication. When dealing with Japanese people, it's important to notice how they communicate. They often don't say things directly and use non-verbal signs a lot. Keep in mind the idea of tatame, public face, and hane, true feelings. Pay attention to their facial expression and body language. For example, if they seem unsure or quiet, it might mean they disagree or need more talk rather than say no outright. Fourth, demonstrate patience and long-term commitment. In Japan, negotiations can be slow because they focus on trust and agreement instead of quick decisions. Be ready for lots of talks and meetings before reaching a deal. Show your passion and willing to build long-lasting relationships. For instance, talk about your company's past successful partnerships to show you're committed for the long run. So I will move on to the next part, which is negotiation process in Japan. For the first one is preparation. Conduct thorough research on the Japanese company, including its history, culture, and business practices. Identify key decision makers and understand their roles and responsibilities. Second one is relationship building. Start by meeting them at networking events or getting introduced by someone you both know. Show that you respect Japanese custom and tradition to build a good relationships. Third, initial meeting. Begin by greeting them formally and exchanging business cards. Chat casually to get know each other before jumping into business talk. Fourth, exploratory discussion. In the first meeting, focus on learning what the other person wants and what's important to them. Ask questions that need more than just a yes or no answer to get them talking and learn more. 5. Proposal presentation. Explain your ideas clearly and briefly, showing how they help both sides. Use pictures or numbers to back up what you are saying. 6. Negotiation and compromise. Work together in the negotiation looking for things you both agree on. Be prepared to make concessions and compromise to reach a mutually acceptable agreement. 7. Final agreement and follow-up. Write down all the details of the agreement. Stay in touch with your Japanese contacts to make sure everyone does what they agreed to and to keep your relationship strong. By using these negotiation tips and understanding how negotiations work in Japan, you can handle cultural differences well and get good results in global business deals. Next is the unique step that distinguishes their negotiation approach in Japan. In Japan, negotiation is all about maintaining harmony, showing respect, and not being too direct. A special part of negotiating there is focusing on making friends before talking about business. It's called nemawashi, which means preparing the rates. Before the actual negotiation starts, people spend a lot of time meeting and chatting informally to build trust and get along well. For example, in a business negotiation scenario, Japanese counterparts might invite their international partners to social gatherings or meals before discussing business matters. These interactions serve to understand each other's perspective, build trust, and establish a comfortable environment for negotiations. Another important idea in Japanese negotiation is wa, which means keeping things peaceful and avoiding arguments. Japanese negotiators try to keep a calm and friendly atmosphere during negotiations. They might use small signs and body language to express their thought without making anyone upset. In Japan, negotiation is all about making friends first, keeping peace and reaching agreements together. It's important to know and show respect for cultural differences when doing business with Japanese people to have successful negotiations.
For the previous presenter, my name is Akila and I will be presenting about bargaining behavior. Cross-cultural communication are essential in international business, especially when engaging with countries that have distinct cultural norms and practice. Japan's unique cultural heritage and business etiquette create specific challenges and opportunity for negotiators from different backgrounds. Understanding and respecting Japanese values like harmony, respect, and indirect communication are crucial for successful negotiation. In Japan, the negotiation process often starts with building strong relationship and trust. Japanese negotiators typically prefer a consensus-building approach, where decisions are made collectively rather than one-sided. This approach contrasts with more direct and individualistic bargaining behavior. Negotiators should be prepared for a slower, more deliberate process, as rushing or applying pressure can be perceived negatively. Passion is a key virtue in Japanese negotiation. Bargaining behavior include a focus on long-term relationship rather than immediate gains. Japanese negotiators tend to avoid a confrontational tactics and instead use indirect communication to express disagreement or suggest alternative. Non-verbal cues and reading between the lines are essential skills. As much of the communication in Japan is high context, meaning that much is conveyed through context, body language, and implied understanding. Culture factors deeply influence bargaining dynamics. For example, the concept of harmony is central in Japanese culture, guiding negotiators to seek harmonious relations that avoid conflict. Respect for hierarchy and seniority also plays a significant role, and understanding this dynamic can help in aligning with Japanese expectation and practice. Next is decision making. In Japan, negotiation and decision-making process are deeply influenced by the country's unique cultural norms and practice. Decision-making in Japan tends to be much more group-oriented than in many Western cultures, emphasizing the importance of preserving group harmony and consensus. Japanese businessmen prioritize maintaining bond and harmony over reaching quick deals, viewing agreements as intention within long relationship subject to changing circumstances. This group-oriented approach often leads to centralized decision-making, where the highest ranking individual in the room holds significant authority and has the final say. This centralized decision-making style can be challenging for negotiators from more decentralized cultures, as it is required adapting to a hierarchical structure and respecting the authority and seniority within the negotiation process. In Japanese business culture, decisions are typically made through a process called nemawashi, which involves extensive consultation and building all among stakeholders before a final decision are reached. This process can be time-consuming and may appear slow to outsiders, but it is essential for building trust and ensuring that all parties are comfortable with the outcome. To navigate the Japanese decision-making process effectively, negotiators should be prepared to engage in lengthy discussion, be patient, and respect the hierarchy within the organization. It is also important to understand that decisions are often made based on long-term and trust rather than purely on the merits of the deal. Building strong personal relationship with Japanese counterparts can be crucial for success in negotiation and ensuring that agreements are honored over the long term. That's all for me, and now I will pass the presentation to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Ashura binti Mustafa Khalil, and I am going to talk about the communication styles in Japan. Japanese communication ethic is crucial as their culture and tradition are based on certain taste and being respectful. This is similar to sensing the lay of the land or reading between the lines before taking action or speaking. It is considered polite to say, "I'm sorry, excuse me," or "sumimasen." They also need to be humble and showing humility, which is very important and very common in Japanese culture. The Japanese language has a system to express different level of politeness, respect, and formality. This is known as keigo, which is respectful speech or honorific speech. Usually, there are three main categories in keigo, which is first, songeiko, which refers to respectful language. It is demonstrate respect towards the other person and mainly used when speaking to superior, such as when an employee is speaking to their boss. Second, kensongo, that refers to humble language. This form are used to depreciate the person in order to show the honorability of some other person, such as when employees talking about their business to the customer. And last but not least, tenego, refers to polite language. It is more generally used and refers to other people or oneself. It is widely used among acquaintance. Honorific may be used to emphasize social distance or disparity in rank, or to emphasize social intimacy or similarity in rank. The system of honorific in Japan is very extensive, including various levels of respectful, humble, and polite speech. Each type of speech has its own vocabulary and verb ending. Like what I explained above, this is about keigo. And then Japanese tend to be more indirect in their communication, and it is important to pick up on subtle cues. They hardly directly decline requests. Instead, they will reply, "It is inconvenient" or "It is under consideration." As for that reason, they tend to avoid conflict in a meeting that cause Japanese business to be slow in making decisions. In a business, when someone makes a mistake, they tend not to try and openly criticize the person in public, and it also happens in their daily conversation in Japanese culture. In business, they also take serious on punctuality, as we know time is a big deal in Japan. Especially for the Japanese business, when promising to deliver something on time, you have to make it, or it can be a deal breaker. Always make sure you are not over-promising and are confident about the deadline or during meeting arrangement. In addition, do not consider it rude to ask about personal questions, such as about a personal marital status or to comment about the person weak or high. However, it is important not to ask questions that may cause the person to lose their face. Most of Japanese are linguistic dependent and doesn't need lengthy explanation. There is also a great deal of emphasis on non-verbal to carry message, including posture, tone of voice, facial expression, body language, and non-word sound. For some old generation, making eye contact while talking considered disrespectful. And some of the posture can include the tone of voice can include. If someone utter a while slightly looking down, this generally means maybe and indicate that they might be considering it. Thus, the people who need to deal with the Japanese people need to pay attention to non-verbal communication, such as body language and tone of their voice. Avoid being too direct or aggressive in your communication and try to use more indirect language. Japanese people don't use many hand gestures and their tone is less aggressive. Silence in the communication is important in Japanese culture as they carry various meanings. It may be a sign of respect, indicating that the listener is paying close attention to the person's words. It may denote agreement, where the person's silence signifies their understanding and acceptance of the point. Lastly, silence also indicates for the employees to maintain harmony and avoid conflict in a meeting. If a discussion could lead to confrontation or dispute, Japanese people might choose silence over potential contentious conversation. That's all from me. Thank you.
Everyone, so today I'm going to be talking about conflict management in Japan. This is for strategies for managing conflicts. In Japan, they use indirect communication because for them, direct confrontation is generally avoided in favor of indirect communication. This means addressing conflicts subtly and diplomatically, often through hints and non-verbal cues rather than explicit statements. And it's very important to listen carefully and interpret the underlying meanings of what is being said. So for the second one is consensus building. or also known as nemawashi. Nemawashi is a traditional Japanese approach to decision making that involves informal and behind-the-scenes discussions to build a consensus before any formal meetings. This preemptive consultation helps to ensure that all stakeholders are on the same page and that potential conflicts are addressed early. And it involves quietly gauging opinions, securing support and addressing concerns before proposing a decision publicly. So for the third one, which is hierarchy and respect, respect for hierarchy is deeply ingrained in Japanese culture. Conflict resolution often involves deference to senior members or those in positions of authority. So by recognizing and respecting the hierarchical structure can facilitate smoother negotiations and conflict resolutions. So senior often act as mediators, providing a neutral ground and guiding the conversations towards a resolution. So the fourth one, which is apology and politeness. In Japan, apologies are a key aspect of conflict resolution. So by offering an apology, even when one is not entirely at fault, can help to mend relationships and move towards reconciliation. The act of apologizing demonstrates humility and a willingness to restore harmony. This is often accompanied by other polite behaviors, such as bowing, to show sincerity and respect. So the fifth one is patience and silence. Patience is a virtue highly valued in Japan. Silence can be an effective tool in conflict resolution, allowing parties to reflect and consider their responses carefully rather than reacting impulsively. So this approach helps to avoid escalation and ensures that any statements made are thoughtful and respectful. So the last one is third-party mediation. Utilizing a third-party mediator who is respected by all parties involved can be an effective strategy, and this mediator can facilitate discussions, ensure that all voices are heard, and help find a resolution that is acceptable to everyone. So in Japan, this mediator often comes from within the community or organization, such as a senior member or a trusted elder.
As we concluded our exploration of Japan cross-cultural management and negotiation practice, let's reflect on the key instruments we gather and their broader implications for the international business. So first, we learn that respect, hierarchy, and the group harmony are cornerstone of Japan business culture. This value shapes their communication style, which is typically indirect and nuclear, empathize and non-verbal cues, and their avoidance of confronting the importance of building long-term relationship and mutual trust overseas transactions was another significant insight. They aspect and embodies practice like Nimawashima, which involves laying the group work for decision through the information discussions, ensuring that consequences is reached without pen conflict. Understand this, and then the culture of nurture is crucial for anyone engaged with Japanese. So it allows for more effective communication, smooth negotiations, and building of a strong lasting business relationship. For example, approaching the success of the Japanese equations as a change of a business card with both hands and user improve holder can demonstrate respect and foster a goodwill. Reflect on the broader international business context, the insights and universal application. Every culture has a unique approach to communications. So influenced by underlying value and social norms, by studying Japan, we are reminded the importance of the cultural sensitivities and adaptability in the global business. Whether dealing with a partner in Asia, Europe, or the America, recognize and respect cultural differences. It's just the ability collaboration reflects efficient outcome. Moreover, this principle respect a relationship building overseas in Japan and available in the sector. In conclusion, our exploration of Japan's business practice all focus inside and the essay will beyond Japan border. By integrating this lesson in our international business strategies, we can negotiate and complex of cross-cultural management confidence ultimately contribute to more harmonious and efficient global business communications. Thank you. ありがとう。